Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Mogul Show. Today, our guest speaker, which I'm super excited, it's Anna Kilinski from the Bravo TV show Buying It Blind. So I'm super happy and excited to do this interview with you. I know you have so much knowledge and there's so much that the audience can learn from you. So let's just start with the interview, and I want to welcome you first.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Let's tell our audience how do you start, how do you start in real estate, and what made you choose this path? Just real estate now.
And the million dollar question. So, I feel like I got into this sort of by accident. My entire family is in real estate, but I always sort of kind of fought getting in real estate because I wanted to be different. I wanted to be unique. And then I realized when I actually bought my first house in 2005, I believe I was 25 years old, to give my age away. I quickly started really finding that I had an interest in the process. I actually bought from a renovator who had restored this historic house in this really cool neighborhood. And I was like super interested in construction and renovation, and started working for him for pennies, like literally pennies a week. And I'm in my early, mid to late 20s at the time, and all my friends started buying real estate, and I found that I was better at helping them navigate through the process than I was at being a construction manager. So I kind of fell into it. Like I said, I have family in real estate. My brother's a mortgage broker. My father is highly involved with Keller Williams at a very high level. And I just started to see the light bulb come on for me, that I had sort of just been in real estate all my life and didn't realize it until I decided to start actually going through the process. I feel like if you're watching this now and you're thinking about, okay, well, how do I get into real estate? Do what I didn't do and be purposeful about it. Because I just kind of like floundered my way through the first 5 years of my career without really having a business plan about what my goals were about becoming involved in real estate, whether that's an investor or a real estate professional helping people buy and sell. I didn't have a plan. I was just kind of doing what came to me every day. So that would be my feedback as to how I might do things a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's pretty nice that you said it was by mistake. Sometimes, by the mistake parts are the best parts too, because you're thinking in your mind and in your head, oh, I always wanted to do this or that. And then you try something different and something that it allows you to give you, more freedom, and as far as the time sometimes, or like the money. So it's one of the things that it's a good mistake to be, in, I guess, right?
Well, I didn't realize this. I think I was sort of immature in my business mindset, but just sort of knowing what I know now and being around some top mindset people that I have in my life, and coaches and consultants and mentors, is I think it's really important that if you are going to dive into anything, that you get comfortable with failure and you get comfortable with failing quickly, right? So we're not going to do anything wildly amazing in our lives if we don't take a risk on something. It's got to be an educated and a calculated risk, but you got to do it and you got to figure it out.
I love that. I want to maybe add a little bit to that, but first I want to ask you, how has real estate transformed your life in achieving financial freedom? Like, a lot of people want to feel, achieve financial freedom and they want to do it quick. So how has real estate transformed your life in general, like, on doing this and now having your financial freedom?
So it's twofold, because I wear, the realtor hat. I also wear the CEO of the business hat. So that's like my real estate business. And then I wear an investor hat, which is my income producing property portfolio. And that some people are really aggressive in that category where they can just buy a lot of real estate. I found that by getting into the business myself, by like actually doing this for clients, buying and selling for clients and helping them invest, I learned how to become an investor myself. And I have ridden this real estate wave through the downturn, which a lot of people got caught with their pants down. And 2008 to 2011, which was the worst market in Atlanta that we saw, and had worked really hard. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't know that I was working hard when everybody else was giving up. I just thought this is what you did in 2007 and 8 when I started my career. But basically, I started slowly accumulating rental property. And I started off with what I knew because I was selling single family homes. I knew single family homes. So I started buying slowly single family homes. And then I got a little bit more comfortable with multifamily, 2, 3, 4 units, which is really kind of what our sweet spot is in the market. You know, I'm not a big portfolio of apartment complexes or anything like that. I have properties that support what I know I'm good at. And so running my real estate business creates my ordinary income, and I've created leverage in the business. So it's not just me. I have a team of 7 or 8 people at this point. So I can step out and have a baby like I just did 8 weeks ago and have my team wonderfully run my business and make money when I'm not there. And then on the other side, as an investor, I have properties, some were paid with cash, but mostly they were paid with other people's leveraged money that are cash flowing every month, and my tenants are paying them down. And to me, that's my nest egg. That's how I plan to retire and just have these. We have 13 units now. I plan to have those be what pays for my son's colleges and how we go on vacations in 15 years. So that's kind of been my path.
I love that. And I love you're fully all in, and I connect so much with you because that's my too. Like I started with the real estate as a real estate agent, realtor, and having also helping my clients. I was like, wait, this is like much better, a lot more money. So I was like, then I started doing my investing, right? But like you mentioned, you just had a baby 8 weeks ago. What other business would allow you to just, spend all this time with your baby, whatever time you want, right? Like if you want to go into the office later, you have your team to help you.
That's
The
right.
real estate investment properties are making money while you sleep. So
Right.
what's just, I don't know which other business or, you know, or job will allow you to do that. Even if you want to have a full-time job, but then still have your investment properties on the side, then that they're making money while you're sleeping. That's something that I feel it's just a no-brainer.
Well, I mean, kind of going back to cash flow quadrant, and forgive me for people that are cash flow quadrant, like they know the book inside and out. I may not be referencing it really accurately, but I look at this as like 2 different ways. You can be an employee of a company and maybe your job earns you a lot of extra income. So you live beneath your means and you're able to save such that you can invest. And you could also become an investor. That's one way to do it. However, if you're sort of attached to the corporate ball and chain, if you will, where you're like making X amount of dollars, it's just enough to cover your bills, but you're sort of frightened into this lifestyle because you have great benefits, you have a 401k, maybe you're a consultant and you have these great sky miles. I mean, that was my life before real estate. And I remember telling my father, who was very heavily involved. In fact, my father and my brothers are all entrepreneurs. I remember them, I had this like $60,000 job with like great benefits, and I thought I had arrived. And they kind of were just like, if you went into business for yourself and you learned your trade and you worked hard and work smart, there's unlimited potential. There is no cap for what you can earn in the real estate business. And I didn't get that. It wasn't until I made what I made in 1 year in 1 month. And then I've had weeks where I've made what I made in 1 year in 1 week or 1 day. And that's pretty mind blowing. It's not, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just trying to talk to people out there that it's not, there's no free lunch. I didn't just show up and money came into my bank account. I had to work hard. I had to work smart. I had to go through ups and downs. I had to fail a lot. And, I had to surround myself with really smart, talented people and make educated decisions to have that become a reality, So that real estate has changed my life in that way. And I never thought that was possible.
I love that. And you're so right. Once you get obviously it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But once you get your first paycheck, right, from all this hard work you put into, and then you see like, whoa, was this like the amount of work for the amount of money? It doesn't really compare to like having the going to your job and like you just make you can only work certain amount of hours, or maybe your salary, and there's a cap that you can all, if you work harder and you're still gonna make that, right? But when you have your real estate investments or you're doing real estate, sky is the limit.
That's right.
You just do as much work as you want and you make whatever amount of money you want to. So I love
Yeah. And then, an important piece of that, I mean, look, there are going to be some people that will be solo agents for their entire career by choice. And like, I admire that. I just know what I'm not good at and I know what I don't want to do. And so therefore I've chosen to leverage myself such that I'm either doing the things that I enjoy or I'm doing the things that make myself or my family or the business money. And they have to fall in one of those two categories or I get it off my plate.
Yeah.
So, you got to start somewhere.
I love that. Can you tell the audience what are some of the mistakes you made on your maybe first year real estate? So maybe so many people are so afraid of failure, right? You mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That you need to be okay with failing. You need to be okay with making mistakes, but just to help them a little bit, where maybe knowing that what are some of the common mistakes or some of the mistakes you made, it allows them to maybe take the step and take action into help them then to invest into real estate. What what advice would you give them?
So would you rather me talk about this in terms of like investing or like growing your real estate business?
I would say investment because a lot of people wants to invest versus actually taking their real estate career. So let's go for the investment, I mean the investment part.
So somebody gave me some really good advice one time, and I'm not a math person, so there's probably like a lot of investors out there that have like their spreadsheets and they like calculate their ROI down to like the penny. I'm not her. Like, I'm not really great at that. I would have started literally hitting the ground running and learning the neighborhoods and learning like what developments were happening in Atlanta, so I knew where to invest next. And if I had not had that real estate background, I think I could have made some poor decisions. So I think really getting knowledgeable of the locale is important, and understanding what things are happening in the city that you're looking to invest in. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Well, let's put it this way. I think the mistake that I've made by like when I started investing was not doing it soon enough and not buying more property. I think a lot of people get caught up in, oh my God, I really wanted an X percent return and this one's only X, and it doesn't fit my model. Well, the reality is the market's going to shift. And if you just wait for every cycle, you're going to be going through this dry spell of 5 to 7 years where you're not building your portfolio. The reality is that while real estate is not super easy to liquidate, it's not as quick as like a stock or a bond or your checking account, there is the opportunity cost of money. So what you would invest in today may not give you a return of what you were getting back in whatever year you're making 15, 20, 25% returns. However, find a good investment. It doesn't need to be the best investment. Find a good investment that's going to be a good vehicle for your money. And look at the absorption rate. How quickly are things selling in that neighborhood? Is it a stable neighborhood? Do people want to live there? Do they have good schools? If you buy in a safer area that has a little bit better rents or better developments, or the walk score is good, your money's going to be relatively safe. So don't wait for like the perfect investment. Just start investing, because you're only going to learn by doing it,
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like a lot of people will go and try to read the books, and they will try to say, well, I'm not ready, and they will try to research so much. And I so like the fact that you said just go and do it, because that's the best way to learn, right? Just taking the action and going and do it. And if you have questions along the way, you can always go back and maybe as a consultant, as a mentor, or reading a book or do some research. And then, but once you put yourself in this situation, then you need to find an answer.
Yeah.
It's better than waiting till you think you're ready. But then in reality, I feel like we will never be ready if you have that mentality, right?
That's right. It's called getting ready to get ready to get ready. And I honestly, like, I'm not sitting here suggesting that people take their nest egg and their life savings and like gamble like they were at Vegas. I think anybody that's getting into the investing realm, I don't care how smart you are, you need to find a professional that does this on a regular basis and knows that market inside and out. Find a realtor that either is an investor themselves that's done this before, so they know how to evaluate property, or somebody that's local to the area that understands the market and what's happening in terms of developments and stuff like that. Don't do it by yourself.
Yeah, especially if they don't feel comfortable. There's a lot of people there that they can help them to do the investment. We kind of went over this a little bit with, I guess, the previous question, but what do you say to people? I came across so many people that they were stuck back in the 2008 mentality that they're so afraid to invest in real estate because back then a lot of people, went into foreclosure and they lost their properties. So what do you say to people when they ask you when is the right time to invest in real estate? When they don't, when they say always say, oh, there is no
Yesterday.
right.
Yesterday. Look, none of us have a crystal ball, and if we did, I think we'd all be super rich. And again, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, I have money in the market, and I couldn't tell you what in the heck was going on with it. I'm grateful that I have a brother who manages it for me because I trust him. But invest in what you know, invest in what you're comfortable with. The reality is the stock market can go to zero tomorrow. Real estate, while it may dip in terms of valuation, it's never going to go to zero. It's an actual asset, right? Especially if you have people living in it that are cash flowing it or renting it. You obviously don't want to buy an investment that's going to be negative cash flow, in my opinion. So I think, to me, real estate is probably one of the safest investments. I would never invest in real estate with the hope that it will appreciate because we just cannot predict the market. However, people need a place to live. People are going to be moving in and out of cities. People are going to be renting. Even if you have to drop your rents, it's still going to be rented at some point. It will never be zero. So while we can't predict another 2008 to 2011 market crash, I do think you need to watch trends. I think, and I don't know what markets are watching this podcast or this video cast. I think at least nationally in the United States, we've seen and ridden this amazing ride of appreciation across the country for the last 5 to 8 years. And sadly, I feel like, I don't want to say it's coming to an end. I feel like it's cyclical and it's slowing. So I personally, I've made an investment in the last five years where everything was skyrocketing and going 24% appreciation in price, but I found a really good deal. I smelled blood in the water and I took advantage of that and I bought a property. However, I'm now watching the market and understanding things are sitting a little bit longer, days on market's longer, there's more price reductions, and that's an indication the market's shifting and people are starting to get a little bit freaked out. Sellers are like, whoa, what's happening? Why isn't my property not selling in one day or even before it's on the market with it coming soon? So right now, like literally right now, is a phenomenal time to start looking at where do you want to put your money and be ready to strike, because the people that are not prepared are going to be left in the dust. Yeah. So get your ducks in a row, liquidate whatever funds you need to start putting your down payment for an investment property, talk with a really good mortgage lender that can help you with investments, and be ready to strike and start working on your plan for identifying what areas are going to be the next best thing in your city. Yes.
I love that. Actually, you mentioned that. I'm in California and I noticed the market shift here too, where before in the market, like we will advertise the property and it wouldn't even hit the MLS because it's already like multiple offers, right? Now it's more like they staying like 30 to 90 days in the market, maybe 100 days, maybe a little bit over that, depends on the neighborhoods. Like like maybe A's and D's are staying longer than the B's and C's. But it's funny that you mentioned that, so I'm actually glad that you say in it, because right now is especially the right time to start like getting ready for the good buyers. Like this is like it's switching into buyers time, and this is when you make actually the most money on like rental properties, because you buy it cheap and then you can make more money when you after you're paying your mortgage and all of that. So I'm glad.
Yeah, and I'm a really big fan of leveraged money, right? When I first started doing this, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to buy these properties with cash. And that's not a reality for everybody. And even if it is your reality, it shouldn't be your approach necessarily. I think a technique for me was, for example, let's say I had $100,000. instead of me buying one property for $100,000, I'd buy 4 with 25% down. And then now I've had 4 vehicles that are furthering my equity with 4 different tenants. The reality is, whether it's good or bad market right now, unless you need to liquidate those funds for whatever reason, you don't need to sell when the market is down. You know, it's the same thing with the stock market. You know, the people that lost their shirts when the market crashed, those are the people that relied on that money for their for everything. And if you're doing leverage money, you're basically offsetting your risk to, frankly, a bank, you know, not to throw them under the bus, but, you know, you're kind of minimizing your risk by getting involved and borrowing somebody else's money. So
I agree with you on that too. I mean, I'm agreeing with you on everything you're saying, but this one is specifically because I would rather do the same thing. I would rather buy 4 properties with the 25% down and then have 4 sources of income that is giving me money monthly. So versus just having the one property, you have like 4 properties that are not just giving you cash flow monthly, but they're also, you know, when the time is right, they will have the equity enough, and then you have everything is, you know, 4 times
yeah.
the one property that you can buy cash. So
and again, you're mitigating your risk, right? Like if you have one property, you put everything in one property, and all of a sudden you can't get it rented, or like the air conditioning breaks or something. It's like you lose your income for this. All your money that you just sunk into it, you've lost your income. If you've got multiple properties, then you're sort of, okay, I've got 3 rented, which are covering their notes, but this one's down for a few weeks until I can get it re-rented. So it sort of works itself out.
I love it. I want to mention, and if you're gonna buy a property and it's gonna be cash, let's leverage the money, get a lender, buy 4 properties, or buy 2, whatever the case might be, but don't just get the one, so you can make more money in the end. I want to talk a little bit, and maybe just to end the interview, about your show. I love your show. I'm like obsessed with it. I feel like so many people have this mentality that I'm not gonna buy a property until I see it, and like all of this stuff, right? That's the mentality, and I understand, right? I get it, but I want you to help them a little bit of, maybe like get them out of that mindset, and that's okay to buy a real estate property while you don't actually go and see the property like in person or something like that. What advice? Tell us about your show, maybe why you did the show, and then tell us what advice you can give them on that.
Perfect. So the show is called Buying Blind, and it airs on Bravo. It's exclusive to Bravo, and we shot 6 episodes. Basically, we have 6 different couples that were real estate challenged. We're either working with their real estate agent that, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we had, they were working with their real estate agent and either got fired by their real estate agent, or they couldn't agree, or they had problems like pulling the trigger. They have, you know, problems making decisions. So myself as the real estate professional, we have a phenomenal designer named Michelle Smith Boyd. He's very well known here. He's done a couple of housewives properties, and also a known household name to Bravo viewers. And then Jen Metzger, who is the contractor that helped renovate the properties. And so while the concept is buying it blind, where we literally are picking out, I'm hunting for the properties, we sit down with the clients, we find out what they're looking for, we sort of kind of cut through all the noise and go find what we feel like they're looking for. I buy it for them. They don't get to see it until they are close on the property, and then we renovate it for them, and then Michelle designs it and kind of makes it look really attractive for them, and then we finally reveal it to them at the end. So ultimately, they're not happy with me when they see it the first time, but I can see the vision and the potential in the properties that they're looking at. And then Jen and Michelle also have a vision, and so we kind of band together as a team, and we deliver this property. And this is real. Kudos to the producers. You know, we have been filming everything real time, so really the reactions that these couples are having are real time. They're seeing it for the first time when we take off the blindfolds, and they see it for the first time after we reveal it to them when it's designed. And so it's been a really authentic process. What I will say in terms of how that translates to real life is that we do work with a lot of investors. We do work with a lot of overseas and out-of-town clients. Now, we are happy to blindfold you the reality is we have technology these days. And if you really want to buy a house without seeing it, obviously I'm going to go back to my professional note. I think the reason that the show is successful with these clients is they really did find 3 experts in their field. And you need to find an expert in their field. You need to find somebody, if you're looking in New York, you're looking in LA, you're looking in Atlanta. Find the expert. Find somebody who is A, not afraid to make a decision that they know is right. B, somebody who's going to listen, like literally understand what's important to you about the purchase of a property or the sale of a property if you're selling something from afar. And have them walk you through on FaceTime. You know, just make sure you're working with, if you find the professional, trust the people that they work with, trust their lenders, trust their inspection people, and maybe let go a little bit. But I think you just need to do your diligence on the front end to make sure A, your market makes sense, and B, you're working with somebody that really understands what's going to be the best vehicle for your money. And that's kind of what we do.
I love it. Especially, it's kind of a little bit like, I never seen anything like it, right? I mean, I experienced when I used to live in Egypt, and I remember a lot of people will have all these real estate transaction frustrations buying U.S. citizens buying properties in the U.S. from overseas. So when I saw your show for the first time, I'm like, oh my God, she is totally perfect for, you know, getting advice from the, you know, people living overseas, because a lot of people just do that. And
thank you.
And having you, you know, you being the proof of it, having like such a successful business and being able to, you know, all your clients being like so happy. And then obviously they're very skeptical at the beginning, like, oh, you know, like sometimes they don't, you see their vision, and you understand their vision, but they don't even sometimes understand their own vision. And the fact that you get them and do everything for them, and they're like, oh my gosh, like they trusted you, right? They put the really, you know, a really stressful transaction in your hands, and you took over, you did everything, and you deliver like the perfect result for them. That is that's just an amazing accomplishment. I'm just so happy you're doing that.
But see, a personality type like me, who's a kind of a control freak, but also somebody who really appreciates people that are good at what they do. See, I micromanage when I don't get the confidence that somebody's doing things the way that I might do it, or like they're not doing it to my level of quality. And I'm completely hands off when I know somebody else has got it. And I think the reality is this could be a thing. Like we outsource everything. We outsource who does our lawn. We outsource our childcare. We outsource our kids coverage. You know, why not outsource the biggest, most stressful decision of your life for a lot of people to somebody else that knows how to do it and take that emotional roller coaster off your plate, right? So, I mean, we have people calling us that are relocating from whatever city to Atlanta, and they are starting a job on X date, and they're not going to be able to come and search for a house in person. So they're relying on us. I mean, we've been doing this for a decade plus before the show, and the show just kind of brings it home to how real it can feel, because now there's like a sort of like a, you know, microscope on it, magnifying glass on how that really, really feels for people. It's emotional and it's stressful. But for some people, it's way more stressful to actually go through the process themselves. So we offer an option to kind of relax a little bit.
I will take that option 100 times over there. I'm like, this is what I want. I'll be, you know, here's my vision. Here's my lender. I'll go and, you know, go and see it when it's all done. I will prefer to do that, but I could be a little bit of micromanager too, but just having somebody that you trust, and like you've been doing it for 10 years and you have proven success, right? So that's a lot of like people can relate, like just find people who has proven success, and then you have the network too, right? Like you have the contractor, you have the designer, you have everybody there to help you, even though you're not doing everything together, but you have a team. And
right.
That's, you know, that's how you are able to do the things that you're able to do, because nobody's perfect. We cannot do it all, but when you have the right team to help you do everything, it's just, and you see their vision, and it just goes from there.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been really fun. you guys are catching this live, it's on Bravo for the next 2 Saturdays at 8 p.m. and they're going to re-air it in January. So hopefully y'all can catch it.
Oh my God! So you guys gonna have a second season?
You're closer to Hollywood than I am, so you can maybe put in a good word.
I'm like an hour away, but honestly, everybody who hasn't watched Anna's show, I think I came on when it was like the very first episode, and I started recording on my TV, and I would watch every single episode, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so inspirational because I can see how you handle everybody, like when people are really nervous and when they're really scared, and that's just something that not everybody can do. So I admire you for that, and
Thank you.
so happy. Everybody's so excited. So everybody just go and watch her show, Bravo TV. It's amazing. And where else can they find you? Just to finish the interview, where they can find you besides?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of helping other people in their careers, so I'm not afraid of an email. Just know that I'm on maternity leave if I take a minute to get back with you. Our website is AnnaKintown.com. That's ANNA, the letter K, INTOWN.com. Or you can just email me at AnnaK, that's the letter K, at AnnaKintown.com.
Perfect. And I will make sure that I add Anna's information and the email. And the email when you're watching this interview, right below, it's going to be a link with her email, her information. And if you want, if you're interested in checking more of their Atlanta market, you know who to find.
You know who to call.
Awesome. Anna, thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it. I know you have
Appreciate your time too.
A baby, and so I'm sure she probably, or it's a boy or girl?
It's a boy. It's my second boy.
Congratulations.
That's who I was pregnant with on the show. He'll see his whole pregnancy captured on TV.
And you did all of that while you're pregnant. Oh my God, that's just amazing.
Without drugs, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm happy and excited for you. And thank you so much for the show. Everybody, please go and check her out. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye. Thank you.
Anna.